Okay, good evening, everyone. As we learn the Mishna Yomis in the fifth parak, and we are holding by Abba Midos B'Moichim, which is the sixth and the seventh Mishnayos in the fifth parak, sponsored by the Fisher family of the Nishmas Basra, Shlom ben Avram Alevi, Pel Basruven, also the Nishmas David ben Chaim, for Shalem for Yomis Mechayisar, for the Schus of Avram ben Yamin ben Malki Udas, by Yol Klugman and family, for Shalem for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fadel, and Meir ben Chayisar. They should have a for Shalem, B'Seich Shachar Yisrael. So, Abba Midos B'Moichim, there are three categories in sales. If I sold and I contracted to sell to Yisrael quality wheat, v'nimtzu rice, and it turns out to be inferior wheat, so of course Yisrael, the buyer, could back out. Because he was supposed to get superior grain, and he got inferior wheat. If the contract was, it should be for cheap, inferior wheat, and it turned out to be superior quality, so then I could back out. Because it was a mistake. It was supposed to be, it was at the cheap price. Rice v'nimtzu rice, if it was contracted to be inferior wheat and it was inferior wheat, or yafais v'nimtzu yafas, it was contracted to be superior wheat and it was superior wheat, then that everything is correct, then ein echad me'am yachal la'azabay, neither of us could retract. What about if it's a different species? Shchamsis. We made up that it would be red grain, v'nimtzis levain, and it turned out to be white grain, or levaina v'nimtzis shchamsis, white grain, it turned out to be red grain. Eitzim shel zayis, it was supposed to be olive wood, v'nimtzu shel shikma, it turned out to be sycamore wood, or shel shikma, we made up the sycamore, v'nimtzu shel zayis, and it turned out to be olive wood. Yayin, if the deal was brokered for wine, v'nimtza chaymitz, it turned out to be vinegar. Some people want wine, some people want vinegar. Chaymitz, vinegar, v'nimtza yayin. So then either of us could back out. Shneim yichayim la'azbem, because that's not what we made up. Now, we know that you need to make a ma'isa kinyan to acquire something. If it's a heavier item, then it's meshicha by pulling it. If it's lighter, then it's hagva, is by picking it up. So amaycha peres l'chaveiroi, if I sell fruit to Shelley, Mashach, if he pulled the fruit that he wanted to purchase, even though v'loi madad, even though it wasn't measured yet, kana. Madad, if he measured it, but v'loi mashach, he didn't do the ma'aseh kinyan of Mashiach, loikan. Now, if Shelley was in a rush to acquire it, and he didn't want me backing out, so imaya pikeach, if he was clever, then seicher es mekayman, then he could rent the area underneath it, even if it's in my house, and then it would be in his chotzer, and he would be kained immediately by chotzer. Now, what if he buys from me flax? Flax, because it's slippery, they packed in very small bundles, and it was very light. Now, if something's light, then the choice kinyan is hagva. So, alikeach pishtan mechaveiroi, if Shelley is buying flax from me, he doesn't acquire it until he picks it up, moving it from place to place. And Rav says over here, the ikar is picking it up. Hainu agva. When it says Mamakam, that's Urcha de Milsa, because when you pick it up, you're taking it from one place to another, but there the kinyan is hagva. If it was flax that was attached to the ground, b'talash kolshu, and he pulled out even a little amount, he was kana, he acquires all of it. The idea is when he makes since it's attached to the ground, when he pulls out a little bit, he acquires a temporary ownership of that ground, and therefore he acquires all the flax attached to the ground at the same time. As always, we want to thank you for joining us and wish you a wonderful evening.